Hey, this is E-Miner channel, and 3 weeks ago I've ordered my PC, and during this span of time I've arranged my furniture, bought the chair, ordered and received my accessories, and even painted my drawer black to fit into the environment. All of this waiting for the main cast to arrive, and guess what? It is finally here! Let's check it out. This is Ultra Core series from Aftershock PC, who custom builds your PC to the specs you want. For the processor, I'm using the Intel Core i9-9900K. It has 8 cores, 16 threads and a turbo boost of 5.0 GHz. For the graphics card, we have the latest Nvidia GeForce RTX 2080Ti from Zotac. It comes with 11 GB of GDDR6 RAM. As for memory, I decided on 32 GB of DDR4 RAM from Klevv. This is called the CRAS X, and yes, it has RGB. When it comes to cooling, I couldn't resist but opted for a custom open-loop water cooling. I've also asked them to add a flow indicator and a drain valve to facilitate the change of coolant. The Intel i9-9900K was launched in October 2018, and to date, it is still one of the fastest consumer processors around. And although there are faster chips in the market, those are extremely expensive and they are targeted at professional creators who want a workstation class performance, and I don't need that for what I'm doing. When it comes to the graphics card, the Nvidia GeForce RTX 2080Ti is considered the world's most powerful GPU in the market right now, save for the Titan, which is aimed at professionals rather than gamers. The RTX 2080Ti is capable of driving the latest PC games over 60 frames per second in 4K resolution, and it features the cutting-edge ray tracing technology. In the memory department, I opted for 32 GB of Klevv CRAS X, which has this really cool fluid multicolor RGB lighting effects, which is compatible with many synchronization softwares out there like the ASUS, Aura Sync, MSI Mystic Light, and so on. It has this amazing speed of 3466 MHz and an ultra low power consumption. To help cool the PC, the coolant in the reservoir is pumped through this tube into the radiator with narrow fins in there to dissipate the heat in the liquid, and the cooled liquid then goes down the other tube into the CPU water block that transfers the heat from the chip to the liquid and continues down to the graphics card water block, cooling the graphics card. The coolant then goes through a flow indicator and goes back to the reservoir, completing the loop. This water cooling system replaces the use of air cooling fans. This is a flow indicator, and it allows me to quickly see how fast the liquid is flowing and whether it is moving or not. This is because you can't really tell just by looking at the tubes. What you see here is a drain valve that I've asked to be installed. It has a valve that I can turn to release the coolant when I need to change the coolant once every year or so. There are also nice little touches that goes into this build, such as this black braided cables that I've requested. The case that they use is from a brand in China called Lianli. It has a really cool brushed aluminum look at the front and features very nice looking recessed ports, as you can see here. The front and side uses tempered glass that allows the beauty of the interior to be showcased without much obstruction. Overall, the combination of glass and aluminum gives it a very classy feel. When it comes to RGB, this whole CPU is bathed with lights all over, from the fans to the motherboard to the graphics card and even RAM. You can go from static colors to all-out psychedelic light shows like this. Wow, this thing's a disco! For display, there are only 2 monitors in the world that are capable of doing 4K resolutions with 144Hz. One is the ASUS PG27UQ and the other, the Acer Predator X27. Hailed as one of the most gorgeous displays, the Predator X27 is a state-of-the-art 27-inch display that does 4K HDR with 1000 nits peak brightness with its full array backlighting. It comes with G-Sync and you can overclock its native 120Hz to 144Hz, giving it a blazing fast refresh rate. I'm also rocking a 2-monitor setup which allows me to do editing and recording with more efficiency. In the future, it will definitely help when it comes to streaming of games and video capturing. And this is a 27-inch LG 27UK850 monitor and it does 4K at 60Hz. For accessories, I'm mainly using Razer products. This is the Blackwidow Elite keyboard, the Firefly mouse mat, and the Mamba wireless mouse. What's nice about using the same brand is that I can incorporate cool looking lighting effects across all the devices, like this wave effect which is synced across my keyboard, mouse mat and mouse. Next, we'll take a look at how some of the games run. This is definitely not a benchmark of any sort and I'm just showing the frame rates of the games as a first impression of how my PC performs. First up is Battlefield 5. I absolutely love this recent series and played a lot of it on my PS4 Pro, and I bought it again on my PC to really enjoy the higher frame rates and the fantastic graphics. You can definitely see here how the ray tracing technology shows the reflection of the trees and the landscape in the water and how beautiful and realistic looking they are. Ray tracing is a really new technology right now and not a lot of games featured it yet. Battlefield 5 is one of the earliest games to showcase it. I'm sure soon enough it will be a feature in a lot of upcoming games. I also realized that there are a lot of details that I missed but noticed over here, like the voluminous clouds in the background and all the particle effects like dust and smoke. They look really good here, especially in 4K. You can see that the frame rate is really stable with hardly any tearing or stutters. As you can see, I'm running anti-aliasing in TTA high. Most if not all the settings are put on the highest ultra setting. For the ray tracing, it is a very taxing effect and I'm running it on medium. With this, I'm running at a frame rate of 60 to 80 plus, but if I turn down the resolutions to 1440p, which still looks amazing, I still get more than 100 frames per second with an average of 90 plus frames, so my monitor is able to display all of that. The next game I tried is Apex Legends. This is a battle royale type of game that has quite a big map, but surprisingly the game seems to be optimized really well. I have no problems running it in 4K resolutions with everything turned up to the max. As with Battlefield 5, everything runs buttery smooth and fast with no graphics issues. You may not be able to see the frames per second in the upper left hand corner of my screen, but it is running more than 90 frames pretty consistently. I think that the game has lower requirements than Battlefield 5 and maybe its textures are not as detailed as Battlefield 5. Or maybe the developers have done a really good job in making the game run really smoothly across different PC specs. Last but not least, I tested out the Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Ubisoft is known for making their games quite demanding on the specs, and I believe this game has quite a high requirement. True enough, after I turned it up to 4K HDR with most of the settings rather high, I managed to get around 60 frames per second. But having said that, this game is stunning. The vast open environment really calls for 4K resolution and the lighting in the game is breathtaking. For example, if you turn towards the sun, you can almost feel the sunlight searing your eyeballs. This is how good HDR effects is. So you can see here, I'm hitting around 60-ish frames per second with 4K resolution and HDR turned on. This is the settings page, and notice how most of the settings are set to the maximum and only the shadows and volumetric clouds are set one notch below the max. Here you can see that the resolution is set to 4K and HDR is turned on. The game performance screen records a maximum frame rate of 65 with an average of 61 frames per second. Not too shabby, I would say. And if you turn it down to 1440p, it goes up to insanely fast 119 frames per second with an average of around 90 frames per second. I'm really happy with how my PC is performing and I can't wait to tweak it more to see how far it can go. We have come to an end of this video, but there are still a lot of setting up to be done that includes tweaking, fine-tuning, installing of programs, but I can't wait to use this as an editing and recording tool, as well as for playing games and doing streaming in the future. If you have enjoyed this video, consider giving it a thumbs up, subscribe and share. And this is just the beginning of a new journey, and there will be more videos to come. Until the next one, take care and E-Miner out.